The 75151 money system that builds wealth on any income. Write that number down right now. 75151. Because if you don't understand this split, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You could make 50 grand a year or 5 million a year, and you'll still end up broke, stressed, and working until the day you die. I've watched it happen to people with money in the bank and people with nothing in the bank. And it's the exact same mistake every single time. They think a budget is about restriction. It's not a budget. It's about direction. Money without direction just leaks out of your life. One subscription, one impulse buy, one I deserve this purchase at a time. And you don't even notice it happening until you're 45 years old with a nice car, a nice house, and zero net worth. That's not wealth. That's just well-dressed poverty. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you the exact split I wish somebody had handed me when I was broke and hungry and trying to figure this out. 75%, 15%, 10%, 3 buckets. That's it. No spreadsheets with 40 categories. No app that guilt trips you every time you buy a coffee. Just 3 numbers that if you follow them will change the entire trajectory of your financial life. Stick with me for the next 30 minutes because I'm going to break down exactly where every dollar goes and why. Before I get into it, hit that subscribe button right now. I'm not saying that to pad a number on a screen. I'm saying it because what I'm about to teach you is worth thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. And I'm giving it to you for free. The only thing I'm asking in return is 30 seconds of your time to hit subscribe. That's it. That's the whole trade. You get a real financial education. I get a follower. Do that right now, then come back because you don't want to miss what's next. Let's talk about why this split works when almost every other budgeting method fails. Most budgets fail because they're complicated. You've got 14 different categories. You're supposed to track your grocery spending down to the dollar. You feel like you need a finance degree just to figure out where your paycheck went. And look, complicated systems don't fail because people are lazy. They fail because complexity is the enemy of consistency. If a system takes too much energy to maintain, you will abandon it, guaranteed every single time, no matter how disciplined you think you are. I don't care who you are. I've built and sold companies, and I even know that the simplest system that you'll actually stick to beats the perfect system that you'll quit in 6 weeks. That's business. That's life. That's money. The 75151 split works because a 10-year-old could understand it. 75% of what comes in is for living. 15% is for investing, meaning building assets that make you money while you sleep. 10% is for saving, meaning cash you can actually get your hands on when life throws a punch at you. 3 buckets, 3 purposes, and every dollar you earn has a job the second it hits your account. Here's the other reason this works on any income. And I mean any income. It's a percentage, not a fixed number. If you're making $30,000 a year, your 15% investing bucket is smaller in dollar terms than somebody making $300,000, but it's the exact same percentage of effort, the exact same habit, the exact same discipline. And that's the whole secret. Nobody tells you. Wealth isn't built by the amount of money you make. It's built by the percentage of that money you convert into ownership. I've met broke doctors making $400,000 a year who spend every dollar that comes in. And I've met electricians making 70 grand who owns 3 rental properties because they never let their lifestyle eat their whole paycheck. Income is not the variable that matters most. The split is, so whether you're just starting out, whether you're in debt right now, whether you're making great money and still feel broke every month, this system scales with you. You don't wait until you're rich to start doing this. You start doing this and it's how you become rich. And I want to address the thing everybody's thinking right now, which is, Mark, my expenses are already tight. I can't possibly find 15 and 10% to set aside. I hear that constantly, and I get it. Life is expensive right now. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But here's what I've learned from watching thousands of people go through this exact struggle. Almost nobody who says that has actually sat down and looked at where their money really goes. They feel broke, but they haven't done the math. There's a massive difference between actually being unable to save anything and simply never having built the habit of prioritizing it. Once you build the actual numbers, and I mean, once you write down every subscription, every delivery fee, every impulse purchase from the last 90 days, most people find room they didn't know existed. Not always all of it, but almost always some of it. And some is enough to start. You don't need to hit the full 15 and 10% from month one. You need to start moving in that direction today with whatever you've actually got. One more thing before I break down each bucket. I want you to understand what this system is actually protecting you from. Because it's not just about getting richer, it's about survival. Most people are one job loss, one medical emergency, or one bad month away from financial disaster. And it's not because they're bad people or bad workers. It's because every dollar they make has already been spent before it even arrives. No buffer, no assets working for them, no plan. They're playing defense their entire life. And you can't build wealth by playing defense. This split flips that. You're going to have a lifestyle bucket that lets you actually live, an investing bucket that's quietly making you richer every single month, whether you think about it or not, and a savings bucket. That means when life gets ugly, you're not one text message away from panic. That's the whole game. Let's break down each piece. Let's start with the biggest chunk, the 75%. This is your living bucket. And I want to be very clear about something right away. This is not the guilt bucket. This is not the money you're supposed to feel bad about spending. This is your rent or mortgage, your groceries, your car payment, your utilities, your phone bill, your gym membership, your night out with friends, all of it. 75% of your income is allowed, encouraged even, to go toward living your actual life. I say this because too many finance people online make you feel like a failure for buying a coffee or going to a concert. And that mindset doesn't build wealth, it builds resentment. And resentment is exactly why people quit budgets. You need a system you can live inside of for the next 30 years, not one you white knuckle for 30 days before you snap and blow $400 on stuff you don't need out of sheer rebellion. So live your life on that 75%. But here's the discipline part. It's a ceiling, not a starting point. The mistake almost everybody makes is they let their lifestyle expand to match whatever they earn. You get a raise, your car payment goes up, you get a bonus, you upgrade your apartment. That's called lifestyle creep. And it is the single biggest wealth killer I've ever seen. More than bad investments, more than market crashes, more than almost anything else. If your spending always rises exactly as fast as your income, you will never ever get ahead, no matter how much money you eventually make. So here's how you actually keep that 75% under control, instead of letting it control you. First, know your actual number. Most people have no idea what they spend every month. Not a rough idea, the actual number. Pull up your last 3 months of bank statements and add it up. I promise you it will be higher than you think. It always is. Second, separate your fixed costs from your flexible costs. Fixed costs are your rent, your insurance, your loan payments, the stuff that doesn't change month to month. Flexible costs are eating out, entertainment, shopping, the stuff you actually have control over at the moment. When money gets tight, you don't touch the fixed stuff first. You touch the flexible stuff because that's where the fat is. Third, and this is the one that changes everything, when your income goes up, don't automatically let your 75% go up with it. If you get a raise, let that raise flow into your investing bucket first before your lifestyle even notices it exists. You genuinely cannot miss money. You never let yourself get used to spending. That one habit alone, keeping your lifestyle flat while your income grows, is how regular working people end up with real net worth by 50, while people making twice as much end up with nothing because their spending grew right alongside their paycheck the entire time. One more thing on the 75% before we move on, because I think it's the piece people get wrong most often. A lot of people hear 75% for living and think that means they should spend right up to that line every single month, like it's a target instead of a ceiling. It's not a target. If you can comfortably live your life on 65% and push an extra 10% into building assets, Do it. The percentages I'm giving you are the maximum you should let your lifestyle take, not a goal to hit. The healthiest financial habit I've ever seen in people who actually become wealthy is this. They treat their lifestyle spending as the flexible number and their investing as the fixed number instead of the other way around, which is what almost everyone else does by default. Now let's get to the part that actually builds your wealth, the 15% investing bucket. This is the whole engine of this entire system. So pay attention. Most people think about money in one direction: earn it, then spend it on stuff. That's the loop almost everybody is stuck in their entire life. Wealthy people think about money in a completely different loop: earn it, use a piece of it to buy assets, and let those assets generate cash flow that eventually funds their lifestyle instead of their job funding it. That's the entire difference between somebody who works until they're 70 because they have to and somebody who works because they want to. Your 15% is what starts that second loop. Every single month, without exception, 15% of what you make goes toward buying something that can make you more. Money, not a want, not treat yourself an asset. So what actually counts as an asset here? I'm going to keep this simple because people way overcomplicate investing to make themselves feel smart. A retirement account like a 401 kilobits or an IRA invested in low-cost index funds, that's an asset. A brokerage account where you're buying shares of real businesses, that's an asset. If you eventually have enough saved up real estate that generates rental income, that's an asset. If you're an entrepreneur putting money back into your own business to grow it, that can be an asset too. What is not an asset is a car, because a car loses value the second you drive it off the lot. A pair of sneakers is not an asset. A vacation is not an asset, even though I promise you it feels amazing at the moment. The test I want you to run on every single purchase is this: does this thing put money in my pocket? Or does it take money out of my pocket forever, the day I buy it? If it takes money out and it's not your home or your basic living needs, it's not part of this bucket. It belongs in your 75%, if it belongs at all. Here's why. 15% invested consistently is so much more powerful than people realize, and this is a part that should genuinely light a fire under you. Money that's invested doesn't just sit there. It compounds, meaning you earn returns on your original money and then you earn returns on those returns, and it snowballs over time. So somebody who invests a modest amount every single month starting at 25 will almost every single time end up with dramatically more money at retirement than somebody who invests double that amount but doesn't start until 35. Time in the market beats trying to time the market every single time. And the 15% rule forces you to give your money that time instead of waiting until you have extra. You will never have extra. There is no finish line where you suddenly have leftover money lying around begging to be invested. You have to build the system that takes it before you ever see it, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. For right now, just lock in this number in your head: 15% every paycheck into real assets automatically, no exceptions, no "I'll catch up next month." I also want to hit on a mistake I see people make constantly once they start investing, and it's chasing something exciting instead of sticking with something boring and reliable. People get on their phone, they see somebody online bragging about some stock that tripled in a month, and suddenly they want to throw their whole 15% at whatever's hot right now. Look, I've made a lot of money in my life, and I've lost a lot of money in my life too. And the lesson that's stuck with me the hardest is this: consistent, boring, diversified investing beats exciting, concentrated bets almost every single time over the long run. You are not trying to get rich this year. You are trying to build wealth over 10, 20, 30 years, quietly, consistently, without drama. The 15% rule isn't glamorous. Nobody's going to be impressed at a dinner party when you tell them you put money into an index fund every 2 weeks. But glamorous isn't the goal. Financial freedom is the goal, and boring. Consistent investing is how almost everybody who actually gets there gets there. Now let's talk about the 10%, the savings bucket, because this one gets overlooked constantly, and it is honestly the reason so many people's entire financial plan falls apart the second something goes wrong. This 10% is not for investing. This is not for growth. This is your emergency fund, your oh crap fund. The money that exists so that when your car breaks down or you lose your job or you have a medical bill and you weren't expecting, you don't have to touch your investments, or worse, put on a credit card at 20-something% interest. I want you to think of this bucket as buying yourself peace of mind and time to make good decisions instead of panicked ones. People without savings make terrible financial decisions under pressure, not because they're bad with money, but because a person in crisis mode will take whatever option makes the pain stop right now, even if it wrecks them for years. Payday loans exist because of this exact situation. Predatory credit card debt exists because of this exact situation. 10% set aside consistently is what keeps you out of that trap entirely. So where does this money actually go? Not under your mattress, and honestly, not in your regular checking account either, because if it's sitting right there next to your spending money, you will eventually convince yourself to borrow from it. And we both know that money never gets paid back. Put it in a separate savings account, ideally a high-yield savings account, so it's earning some interest while it sits there, but it needs to be separate enough that you have to make a deliberate decision to touch it. Your target here is typically 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses, not your whole lifestyle spending, just the core stuff: rent, food, insurance, the non-negotiables. Once you hit that number, you honestly might not need to keep pouring 10% into savings forever. You could shift that extra into your investing bucket instead. But until you hit that cushion, 10% is non-negotiable, because I promise you, life does not wait until you're financially ready to throw a curveball at you. It happens to everybody, and the only question is whether you're prepared for it or whether it sends you into debt. So now you know the 3 buckets: 75 for living, 15 for building real wealth, 10 for protecting yourself. But here's where almost everybody fails, and it's not because they don't understand the math. It's because they rely on willpower to actually do it every single month. And willpower is the least reliable resource on planet Earth. You are not going to feel motivated to move money into savings and investments every single time you get paid. Some months you'll be tired, some months you'll be tempted, some months you'll just plain forget. That's not a character flaw. That's just being human. And the entire solution is to remove yourself from the equation completely. This is called paying yourself first, and it's the single most important habit in this whole video. Here's exactly how you set it up. The moment your paycheck hits your account, before you spend a single dollar on anything, you set up automatic transfers. 15% moves automatically into your investment account. Whether that's your 401 kilobits contribution coming straight out of your paycheck before you even see it, or an automatic transfer into a brokerage account the same day you get paid, 10% moves automatically into your separate high-yield savings account. What's left, the 75%, sits in your checking account, and that is genuinely, truly guilt-free spending money, because the important stuff already happened before you were tempted to touch it. This is the exact same reason why 401 kilobits contributions work so well for so many people. Even though they claim they can't save money, they never see it, but you cannot spend what never touches your hands. And once this is automated, you're not relying on discipline every single payday. You're relying on a system you built one time that runs itself forever. I'll give you one more piece of advice on this that most people skip. Start today. Even if you can't hit 15 and 10% exactly right now, if you're deep in high interest debt or living paycheck to paycheck, start with something, even 5% and 5%, and grow those numbers as your income grows or your debt shrinks. The goal isn't perfection on day one. The goal is building the habit and the automation so that the system is already running when you're finally ready to push the full percentages through it. People wait for the right time to start investing or saving. And I'm telling you right now, there is no right time coming. The right time is the next time you get paid, whenever that is. So here's your challenge. I don't want you to just nod along and think, yeah, that makes sense, and then close this video and do absolutely nothing about it. Because that's what 95% of people watching this are about to do. And it's exactly why 95% of people never build real wealth. Before you go to bed tonight, I want you to open your banking app and set up just one automatic transfer, even a small one, into a separate savings or investment account. That's it. One transfer. That single action done tonight puts you ahead of almost everyone who watched this video and just kept scrolling. Then on your next payday, do it again and build toward that full 75, 15, 10 split over the next few months. This isn't complicated, and it doesn't require you to make more money than you already do. It requires a decision made once that runs on autopilot from here on out. If this video actually helped you, hit subscribe, share it with somebody in your life who needs to hear this, and drop a comment telling me what percentage you're starting at today. I read every single one. Now go set up that transfer. Don't wait. Do it tonight.